watch it on the YouTube side. Live recording, YouTube shows, excellent connection. It probably is going to provide better bandwidth than if I was just using OBS on my computer or something.
Oh, that'll be
So
interesting.
YouTube streams up. It's got both our faces and the little Trustybits logo in the corner. If I go share screen, were you imagining I would share? That's going to give the infinity mirror to people. If I try and show them the exact window that I'm using here. Boom, 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 boom.
Can you launch Studio in a different tab under incognito onto it?
The Trustybits, like the Riverside
Mhm.
app. I could, but then if I'm incognito, I'm not logged in. I don't have like the same interface and controls and everything.
Create a new account.
Oh gosh, we could do that. What it really kind of makes me feel like is we shouldn't be using Riverside to live stream an explanation of how to use Riverside. I should like go use OBS or something else to live stream while demonstrating this.
I don't
You
know.
know,
Seems like it could work, right? Just doing it
it could.
incognito.
It could work. Yeah. If I all right, so uh,
It's all a trial, anyways, right?
it is. Yeah. I need to think of like an email account. Okay. So then I'm gonna change my. I'm gonna stop sharing. Perfect. All right. Now I'm going to share
You could do like a cam and flux
screen
or something.
window. I wanted this window. Okay. Is that working?
What is
That's
this
showing
Riverside?
up. What'd you say?
What is this Riverside you keep telling me about?
Yeah, well, you see, there's these things called rivers that have running water, and just adjacent to the river is something that we call the riverside, right? Rivers, you know, also known as streams. Streams can flow, whether they be over rocky terrain or across the interwebs onto the YouTube channel before your face. I don't know if that's how
Nice.
they came up with the name of it or not, but yeah, and I don't know, like, if we're supposed to do like a formal introduction. Hi, everyone that isn't watching, or watches at some never future date. I am Cam with Trustybits.
Greetings. I'm Matthew Galley, product designer and strategist by trade, dreamer by nature.
Ooh, I feel like you've been practicing that one. Not in a mirror though,
I just
probably.
read it.
Just in the webcam. Reading is helpful. Writing scripts is good. So, okay, cool. Riverside. We're playing with it today for the first time ourselves. I don't know. I think there's going to be some snags, but we're going to try this. So we're just going to like start for free here. Currently streaming with Riverside in a different browser window. This is incognito here. So coming in to create an account. I'm going to see if I'll just use a Gmail real quick here. And this one we're going to be calling our friend Jando. And this is a secondary old email that I have. Nobody make fun of me, okay? Any Brandon Sanderson fans out there might get a reference there. Our password, I'm not going to tell any of you what it would be. You clearly know that I'm missing. Alright, okay, sorry. It needs all these stipulations. There we go. I met them.
Strong
Sweet.
passwords. Important, right?
Did it say it was strong? It was pretty pathetic. It may or may not have been password 123 bang. So, now I have to go check my inbox, which I will very briefly do on another window here. Guess I just have to confirm or something. So nice of them to make sure I am who I say I am. Okay, there's verify. I'm gonna right click the link for the, oh perfect, yes. Please give me the link address so that I can paste it into this incognito friend over here. Okay, great. So what are we gonna do? Depending on your use case, which it wasn't really even until I started playing with it that even though I went through this onboarding on my own account, I didn't realize, I didn't read half of them. In my brain, I was thinking, well, what's the one I'm looking for? After I've started playing with it a little bit, I see like it has a lot of use cases. So um, recording video, that's some fun feature there. I guess people could do a podcast without the video through it. Yeah, lots of use cases. Your imagination could run wild. You could do something else. There's also the option to skip. So I am going to skip on the streaming platform that they want you to set up. And we heard about this from, I would love to say returning customer Trustybits. You know, don't. It's all good. We'll hit skip on that one too. So it's going to drop us in. We're about to join Jando's studio. You can change your name here and then you indicate if you're using headphones or not. This is where I'm thinking, Matt, that it's going to give me some issues because I know a lot of other software complains saying like, oh, something's already using your microphone or your webcam or whatever. So we'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Look at that. It shows it's got my webcam and the microphone just like everywhere else. Hit join studio. Hot dang, look at that. So you have the option here. You can set up your live stream. I guess it pops that open by default. You can come in here and invite other people so they can come in as guests or as audience members. In this case, what we're streaming to you with is I'm the host, which isn't an option here. And Matthew is in as the guest. They do have this cool producer feature, but little lightning bolt. Gonna have to upgrade for that. That lets somebody come in that they're not going to be on camera, they're not going to be on mic, but they're able to take care of any like changing of the camera settings and any of your lower thirds text boxes that you want to pop up, things like that. So you just give the link to people, they can hop in. I don't know if there's a limit, but I expect there would be some kind of limit on how many people can join. I can close that out. There's always that invite button there to get back to it if I needed it. Some help, different ways to get help. Settings, you can come in, you can change the name of what your studio is here. So this could be Doughboy's Studio. It automatically saves, however, until I refresh the page here at the top. It's not going to reflect those changes. There it is. It says Doughboy's Studio.
So this looks like Riverside can support 10 guests.
Oh, is that what you're seeing on your
Session.
suite?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that is a little bit better than we were saying
And
earlier.
include one recorded host.
One recorded
And then it can have up
host.
to 1,000 audience members.
Okay. Now you're making me wonder if like YouTube live streaming has an audience member limit. I've never thought to look that up before, but
Let me look it up.
oh, they do have, okay, so noise reduction is a separate setting. On the end, so like if you have different people here, if I had a guest that had joined this call, you would see that they have each their own little box here, if a guests, and you have some level of control as the host to be able to like mute and turn off camera and things like that, not just for yourself, but for the other guests. There's this setting, echo cancellation, which is going to get toggled based on when you come into the call, if you said you're using a headphones or not.
Here, toss me the link and I'll, we can see what it looks like.
Oh, yes. I will toss you the link. And then I guess you just won't.
Just throw it in the chat. Oh, that chat's fine too.
Yeah, that chat works. I probably should mute myself in the second one so that it doesn't echo for you.
see, we got...
I'm feeling unusually hungry. Most mornings I'm fine getting past noon. I don't feel the hunger. But more or less, intermittent fasting has been going well. Yes, world. I have been intermittent fasting. Issue: Matthew G's device is not accessible. Ensure using Chrome or Edge and ask for browser restart.
Oh, that's interesting. It's, it called me Matthew G up there, but I joined as MJ.
You joined what?
Like, look at what I'm listed as, MJ.
Okay.
But it called me Matthew G up here.
That is interesting.
Even the little like icon and stuff on the right where you see the guest list for people.
Yeah, it's got. What should I do? So this is cool, right? Riverside's got a decent level of like insight into the other people that are even in your call. So I'll mute Sir Matthew there. You can see it's not showing much here other than his speakers at the moment. That's what you like. That whole little pop-up probably was about, right?
It's telling me I'm unable to access, or it's unable to access my mic or cam.
Which is what I kind of expected to happen on my end, right? That like two devices can't tap in on the same thing. Like if I have my webcam pulled up on OBS, there was something else I tried pulling it up on the other day and it wouldn't let me. Maybe it was like a Google Meet call or something we were hopping on, but for whatever reason mine's working, yours isn't. That's fine. It would show me though, like it even tell me like what microphone and camera Matt's got here, which is pretty cool. So lots of cool little like settings and stats and info here. This is all under the people technically. I'm gonna close that out. Maximize my space here. I've still got my controlling option thingies on the right. There's chat. I guess, okay, with upgrade you can have direct chat is what I'm guessing this implies. I could directly chat with participants. Chat with everyone in the studio. Messages are cleared after each session. That's good, because it is the same studio, I believe. And there is like a lobby setting as well, I think I saw somewhere. Yowdy.
It's kind of confusing on this YouTube live stream, the question we asked earlier. It says if you have less than 1,000 but more than 50, they might limit, or they may limit. If you're below, let's see, you won't lose access to mobile live streaming unless your channel goes below 50 subscribers. So apparently mobile live streaming is not available until you reach 50. Okay. And then it talks about device limits. Limit of 3 concurrent devices on the base plan. Never mind, that's YouTube TV live.
Oh, okay.
It's like, that sounds weird. Says technically there's no limit on YouTube live streaming.
Nice. That's cool. This is the script that ever starts. That's handy. It's got a little script tool, but you have to pay to get the teleprompter feature, which is pretty significant, by the way. From all the videos I've been recording lately, having a teleprompter with your script is super significant. However, like anybody that's got like a real significant setup is gonna have like in front of you a camera. You're gonna have a nice little box, right? And you're gonna have some screen under it, which nowadays it could just be like a cell phone or a tablet, which is super easy. But I guess for the people that are not to that level yet, you know, you've got your teleprompter stuff on your screen. I don't know for sure if, and like maybe if they have a free trial or something of upgraded plans, we could look at that. Or if we have a paid plan, we can do another recording of these one day and examine all the additional features. But I don't know exactly like how the teleprompter placement works. When I've used it on my phone, when I've used a teleprompter on my phone for recording, for example, I can use on Samsung where I can overlay one app over another, and then I can even turn the transparency of that overlay down. So I have my camera app open in the background, and then I have the teleprompter app open as an overlay, and I ideally drag it to the top of the screen closest to where the camera is. So just like I'm trying to do now, and I haven't done for the rest of this recording, is like look directly at the camera, right? Because it's yeah. If my script is over here but the camera is there, it's not as engaging. And that sometimes that is what it is. It's fine. And I think to some degree for web like calls and things like this, people are a little more accustomed to like not seeing the like participants actually be looking directly at the camera. And there are those that do, I think, and those are probably the higher quality productions. But anyways, yeah. So the
That would
teleprompter I was
be.
just playing with.
I'm curious if you pull up the like pricing page where it shows a breakdown of features.
Riverside.
Were you saying
Pricing.
earlier you identified Live is a separate pricing package?
Right. Live Studio add-on here. If you are not on the free plan.
And then it looks like your teleprompter comes in at what point? Pro?
Yeah, you have to go to Pro to get the teleprompter.
And yeah, it'd be fascinating to see if they let you move that around and have any control over.
Well, because what I'm wondering is like my webcam is not in the center of my screen, and like unlike a cell phone where it's not the center, but it is in the screen, right?
Yeah.
And there's no way for me to show this without like maybe a high level of reflection. I have no idea if you can see, but I actually have my webcam set up on like this weird tripod and like this janky like plastic piece in between the mounts to get my webcam theoretically extended to the side and have as little like obstruction right around it, because I wanted to try and accomplish this previously, that I've got my script in some text document or something right next to the camera on my screen. It's
With
tricky.
you holding up your phone, were you trying to show us
I was hoping that
camera?
like there was a
It's not picking it
reflection,
up.
because like my webcam setup, I don't have a mirror, and so I didn't have another way to show you a reflection of like the way my webcam is set
Can't
up.
you just turn on your camera, flip it to the front? Be like, this is my. No, it's not gonna let it.
You,
Oh no.
you're speaking nonsense, man. You're trying to make things too easy here.
Well, you saw mine. I wasn't letting it show anything. Hey, look at that.
There you go. So,
Fascinating.
and then me
You've obviously
seeing if
been
it's
doing this. I have not. This is my first time on video, so.
oh well, yeah. This little peg is from not technically IKEA, but an IKEA-esque like piece of furniture.
Can I
Peg.
go up a little? Can't see it.
You should be able to see the white peg in between the two things there. I can see in the reflection of my screen,
Okay.
so I can tell if I've got things framed here. But yeah, that little white peg in between there, it's just going in the 1/4-inch screw mounts of this like little weird like phone holder thing on top of this flexi tripod going into
Yeah, your camera's off the feed.
the bottom of the webcam. Oh. Oh, I see. That's tricky. There's like multiple angles that I have to consider
Yeah.
to get
It's all
that
mirrored.
visible to you.
Mine's like, oh, which direction?
But wow, custom frame rates. Honestly, like people are getting hardcore if they really need to be able to choose between 24 and 25.
When would you use that? That's coming from again, someone that doesn't deal with cameras or streaming or recording.
Well, and I'm curious, like, do they not have an option for 60? Personally, I hate watching like video on the internet at almost anything at 60 frames a second. unless it's something like some action scene, like animals, what like usually, but that's toned down to slow motion and then relayed back at 24 frames a second. Standard TV, so anything you've watched on a TV screen, movies, theaters, old school TV, modern TV, is pretty much all 24 frames a second, and that more or less has like the best feel. There's other settings you have to have configured with a camera, right? But that has like the best feel for like natural motion and things like that. Um,
It's 24.
at 24 frames a second, yeah.
That's weird.
Um,
I would think it would be 60, but
30 is like close enough that most people don't distinguish it too big of a difference unless you like really in like if you're the kind of person that's recording and have done the two, then you can kind of tell it apart. I had a former roommate photographer who had a really good eye and could pick them apart. I couldn't, but I can definitely like easily tell when I'm watching something that's got higher frame rate. 60 and above is amazing for digital interfaces and things like that. I absolutely do love like the smoother animation with those, but for video recording, like, yeah, I personally, it's a little bit of a personal preference. It is also a little bit of like an industry standard, but the industry and the standards have been opened up in the past decade or so, right? Anybody can have a camera now, so.
so what are we at right now with this stream?
I'm gonna guess that, well, so I will show on this where I'm gonna go check on the other call. So I click on people and I expand this. It's showing that this call's at 24, so I half expect our actual call. Yeah, our actual call is also showing 24. So,
Yeah.
not too
Now you got me
slow.
interested. I'm like, okay, can you show me a side by side of each one? Like 24, 30, 60. Like, you got all these like screens out there from someone that's doing gaming or just using digital products on their operating system that go up to like 144 hertz or 200 and something. It's like, why do we even care about how fast that is if it's and maybe FPS is not even related to hertz.
It is pretty related. Hertz is like the frequency, specifically the frequency of how often your screen is updating. And so they're not the same thing, but they are related. And the reason, especially for gamers, that 144 hertz or larger numbers on their monitors is significant is that their eyes and then brain can be updated like it's a small amount, right? But they are then able to know sooner and quicker if something changed. But it's also not just your monitor at that point. Like everything in the chain has to be drawing those pixels on the screen quick enough. But 144 hertz means that every second the pixels are redrawn 144 times. So a 60 hertz monitor is similar to the concept of 60 frames per second because you are redrawing. So if if for some reason you somehow had video that was recorded at 120 frames a second, you could not view that video any different on a monitor that only does 60 hertz. 60 frames per second is the highest that you would be able to see and perceive on a monitor, a 60 hertz monitor. Does the audio come through on this screen sharing?
I'm not hearing anything, but
Okay.
I'm sitting here like dodging my eyes around trying to see like what's different.
Yeah, and it isn't super easy to see the difference between some of them, but obviously between extremes 60 and 12, you should be able to notice that. I don't know if that's like the best demo either. Like, is there maybe this one?
240 frames.
That's a good point. And this is an interesting point here. It's way too loud for me to be able to hear you. This is a good demonstration for the fact, like I said, that like I do definitely prefer the higher frame rate for digital interface and animation, because our eyes are perceiving a lot of the pixels. Um, there's a little bit of jitter there, right? I could see the difference on that, the 30 and the 24. It was marginal, but and then 60.
I still see it kind of stopping on that one as well.
I wonder how much too that might be like the connection for you watching it live. But if you came back and watched the recording, well, and to that point, like you probably are only seeing it at 24 frames a second because that's what our stream quality
that's what we're
is.
capped at. Good point.
But part of the reason too that like interfaces having like 60 frames per second, I don't know, that's not animated, that's just like a hard open. Rive would be a great place to go to look at like animations and frame rates. You can adjust all of that when you're making a Rive animation. But part of what is accomplished and done in 24 frames per second movies and things like that is motion blur. And in that video, which I go through this stupid ad. Part 2. What? Potato Jet's great, but that's not... Okay, here we go. Oh, that was the button to go to the next video, not to skip the ad. Silly me. So, not there. As this stuff is moving, like, yeah, the 60 frames per second looks the best the way this animation is set up. But if you put some motion blur on it, this or this might feel a little more natural. Like, even if I'm just turning my head, it's not a huge thing that you probably don't think about too often, but like the objects have motion blur as your things are moving, or I'm moving, or they're moving. So, look at that, 16 million views. Could have been a short too, because it's only a minute. I want 16 million views on all of our videos.
It's like when you like flap your hand, you get the blur, right?
Yeah. Of course it looks like a blur. That's a good example to tell people. But even like to yourself, right? If you just like put your hand up. So that's actually a really awesome example. I think partially because like you have all the separate objects. Anyways, hi. I'm just waving, by the way. Hi. Yes, good tangents. This is great. So there's the people, we played with the chat. There's this brand setting here. If you upgrade, you could drop a logo. Don't know where that logo goes per se. And on our YouTube live stream anyways, we've got the logo showing up there on the side or in the corner or whatever.
And that's coming through because of YouTube, not Riverside, right?
Well, what about YouTube?
Where YouTube's live stream is putting in the logo, or Riverside's putting in the logo?
YouTube is, yeah. I've set that up on YouTube in the corner. It's got the Trustybits logo. So name style. You can see down here, Mr. Jando. Just kind of playing with some of that. I don't know if they give you any further customization. You do have 2 themes to choose from. You have Newsflash, which gives you better contrast. Coming from the designer perspective here. Riverside, kind of like cooler, I don't know, I like purple, purple's a great color. But some of the contrast could be a little rough. The black and purple they're not bad, I guess. And obviously it's going to depend too, like I'm wearing black right now, and so white text for my name, not too bad at all.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, I can personally choose as well the color, that's cool. And the size is going to be significant too. Right, if it was large, then its readability is so much better. So,
I'm going to have you go back to that purple and black. I'm going to grab a screenshot. I'm just curious what...
Well, now it's showing white.
Shows
I
us.
didn't do that, did I? Did you do that? Did you make them white?
Okay, give me a second.
Purple now. You're going to give a... I know what you're doing. That's fun.
How's
That's
that?
fun. You got your screenshot. Do you want different sizes?
Oh, that's good.
You got what you need?
Yeah.
Okay, you come give us your stat in a moment. I will continue. Text portion over here, and it lets you make lower thirds, which is one of the main things. There's plenty other things here as well, like we'll get to the next one, the soundboard and stuff, but lower thirds would be a significant thing for your producer to come in and do, so we can click and show. We can manage what's going on there at the bottom, and we can put some cool thing like interview between, looks like there's no, oh, I opened a preview, that's cool. There's no second line, I guess. Interview with Pillsbury.
So it looks like when we go to just WCAG, WCAG, a 2.0, right? We got a AA passes for normal text. Large text gets to AAA. Graphics, AA. But if we're looking at APCA, the beta algorithm, non-text elements, it passes, and spot text, which is placeholder text, disabled element text, copyright text, mostly solid icons. So I don't know if this qualifies for that. It might be more context text, but which would require 60, and it only gets to 41. LC 41, lightness contrast. So either way you skin it, normal text, which is the size that it's providing on the screen, yeah, it's not a good contrast ratio.
Okay, that sounds great. I couldn't type up what you said in a cute little text box. So, anyways, there's the text feature, and there's your contrast tidbit fun fact. Let's be more accessible than, let's go newsflash. I don't really love the blue background, unfortunately. But if we paid money, then we could totally probably customize all of that good stuff. Whew. That's a yawn. That's a big yawn. We've got a nice little soundboard here where you can upload media, also videos. So I don't think it's gonna... It didn't even play. It might be like dealing with my audio device or something that it doesn't want to play it. But I promise, these are sound effects that play. You can preview them so that like you, the host, or if you were a producer, could listen to it first, make sure it's what you want, or you can switch to live. Oh, now I hear it. I don't think that comes through on my stream, but I can hear it.
The audience really liked what you said.
Yeah, they did. They were cheering really hard. What is this? Does that come through?
Yeah.
In the stream? Nice. So it does do
Comes
audio.
through loud and loud.
Loud and loud. Drop the volume even more.
It's like that movie. It's good volume right there. What do they have for the intro?
What?
Intro.
This one?
Powered by Riverside.
Nice. And then demonstrate here. They got the video. So if you have a screen share app, it won't let you play the videos. You can see it's actually grayed out the screen share now. Oh, someone else is currently sharing. But if you have the video, you can't share. If you're sharing, you can't pull up the video. But so this could be great, I guess, if like we wanted to watch someone else's content or something, and then we watch it together and react to it real time. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
it's
the
probably a
video's
use
drowning
case.
you out. It's hard to hear you.
Like it's crazy because the volume's already like
I know.
so low. Like
They need to fix those levels. I think it'd be nice
Yeah.
if they allowed for anybody to adjust the levels of each individual guest slash host or producer, if the producer's gonna have their voice.
I'm imagining the producer's got full amount of control, but just being that you're invited as a guest, you don't have anything other than yourself.
Yeah, what does it look like to assign me as a producer?
You have to pay to have a producer. That was like back at the invite part. You got this drop down.
That's true.
The lightning bolt,
Forgot about
which
that one.
need help choosing a plan? Not really, thanks. Looks like the producer isn't until you get to the business tier either.
Interesting.
I don't hate on people putting these icons and things for paid features. I think in general, I kind of like having been on both sides, right? Having used software and having, built software, I see benefits of it on both sides, but there is some detriment. And in this current case, my complaint is the fact that just seeing the lightning bolt doesn't tell me what paid plan it's part of. And so I know the feature's there. Like, I learned that the feature is there, which is great, but I could be like having different understanding, right? With like what we just barely did. Producer takes the highest tier. They don't even list the price for. I don't think they did, right? It's like contact a book a demo type of typical
Yeah.
flavor. Whereas like if I'm in text and or not text, but like brand or something, right? And I want to do my logo. I'd imagine. I think I saw it. Yeah, it's kind of like the watermark. Imagine text overlays. It's a little unclear, unless I went maybe to like their detailed comparison. But it could be something as simple as removing the watermark, right? Like, I don't know where that feature even is. I don't actually even know where the watermark is if I'm looking at the YouTube stream. But
Oh, that's interesting. Just looking at the teleprompter we talked about earlier, you can get it for the guests, business, just custom pricing. If you scroll back up, that's also where the frames, which I think we mentioned, but it's just 24 until you go to the business. So
yeah,
seems like there's a number of their offering, their features that's behind that unknown price tag.
yeah, there is. It's kind of heavily weighted on that far side here. Camera controls.
Custom branding is probably where you get that logo, and that's in the custom, business custom.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's like almost everything. So the reasons to upgrade to these middle tiers is
Live
like
streaming.
small incremental like improvements in what you get. You can have unlimited
4K.
studios. That's kind of cool.
Wait, what is that? More than
well,
one
like,
studio, huh?
what is what?
Just more than one studio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Production workspaces. None. Custom packages. It's interesting. Shared team space where multiple studios can be accessed by all members that have access. Oh, well, that coincides, I think, with seats. Like, if these are all single seat things, which, for our case, unless we hit the business tier, that means we have a single login that is the host. But I'm now curious. We were looking at this earlier, and it wasn't super clear on like if
It's
this is
one-off.
a rolling 2 hours, but the one-off. Separate recording files for the audio and video of each participant. This gives you control during post-production. Yeah, which is great, by the way. If we didn't mention that earlier, not that this was like really like a total review, this is like just a free-form walkthrough, but one of the like strongest arguments and reasons for using Riverside is the fact that when you do, oh wait, text, I don't want text. It's got rude. Assuming that MJ here has video stream and I've got a video, and even also maybe I'm sharing my screen. If we were capturing this and sharing this as is, obviously live, we don't have another choice. But if we wanted to make something with it in post-production, if we wanted to record and make the podcast, for example, then the quality is going to be lowered, right? I've got a network connection, MJ's got a network connection, and there's latency between the two of us. There's latency between whatever platform we're doing this call, this recording on. The one of the most powerful things about Riverside is the fact that at my computer, it's going to record my screen, my camera, and if I'm the one sharing my screen, it'll record that as well. And then on MJ's end, it'll record their video. So I can then, we did a live event, or we just were the two of us together. This wasn't live, and we just recorded the call between the two of us, but we're in two different places, right? Remote. We then get those high quality recordings, high quality depending obviously on what your equipment and settings and things like that are. But we've got theoretically now a high quality video from my end, from MJ's end, and a video of whatever screen sharing that we might have done. And then I can download those files, and in post production, I can put them all together and have a high quality presentation of what happened, of the interaction, the call, the interview, whatever it was, right? The podcast episode. So, if MJ lives in another part of the U.S. on the other coast, and I live here, and we both work for Trustybits, there are some limitations in theory, right? Remote work, but you can overcome hurdles. Technology's great. Folks be innovating. So.
And what you're saying is that's more difficult. Like OBS doesn't even offer something like that.
Yeah. So OBS, like I can do recording from my end. And if you wanted, if all of your parties are really technical, you could actually be recording at the same time. And most video editing software has features where you can use the audio and it can analyze that and sync them up, line up your tracks. So it could detect the audio in my recording and your recording. You would have to do some of that probably with the Riverside recordings as well. But in OBS, if you were technically inclined on your end, you could have everything set up. OBS, or in theory, anything really. Like you could have your camera set up, whether it's your webcam, whether it's a fancy camera, however you want to handle it, right? But there is the potential for some other nuances that could get in the way, right? OBS gives you some control that, like, just setting up a camera and recording myself while talking to you wouldn't. Where, like, OBS, I could make sure that it is recording only my microphone and not any sound I might hear from my windows or from you. I'm just trying to think through it in my head and make sure there's not some, like, gotcha or, like, exception or whatever that I'm missing. But more or less, I think, yeah, you could handle just, like, recording from each person's end with the right setup. And I think that's one of the biggest caveats, though, is the technical know-how. Not that OBS is super complex or difficult, but not everybody, knows how to set it up or has it set up. Whereas this, like, you literally just, like, hopped in and joined my call as if it was just like a web meeting, web call, which, by the way, too, you can do with Riverside. There's no limit on the length of the meetings. So I think you looked it up earlier and you said you saw that, like, there was a limit of 10 guests and 1,000 audience members, right? So
Yeah.
Audience wouldn't apply in this case, but if you just wanted to do, like, free video calling, you could do that on Riverside without a limit on the length of your meeting, right? And use the free account as well. So unless you need more than 10 people, and if you do, you're probably big enough that, like, you ought to be paying for a platform, whether it's like Google or Zoom. And if you have a domain and an email, then you probably have either, like, Microsoft or Google. You might have some other option, but don't know then why you're paying for Zoom at that point. But digressing here.
It does make me think, though, and I wonder, using one of those with OBS, or I know back when I worked at Sorensen, we would use Teams, and Teams could go live. I don't know if I could send that to YouTube, but now I'm wondering, like, I want to kind of try some of these things. Like, what would it look like in those circumstances? Maybe we could do another stream where we do the OBS live and then try to stitch it together after.
I do think you would have... I think it's technically possible, but there are some additional complications, especially if you wanted to do recording and live streaming at the same time. OBS is capable of both, but the live stream in Riverside is just, it's got it set up. You could have a producer, right, or you're doing that yourself as the host. But it is also then independently recording the things, and so there's even more setup and nuance to doing that in OBS if you want it actually I haven't tried this, but you've got a separate button to start recording and a separate button to stream. I don't know 100% if OBS will let you do both at the same time.
Hmm.
It might. I haven't tested that or played with that. I don't have necessarily any of that set up to like showcase right now. Plus, we're kind of at time, but it's a valid
Sounds like
question.
some future thing we gotta try.
Yeah, yeah, we can test that out, give it a try, and share to the world the wonderfulness. Shows that there's one view of our live stream. I don't know.
We have a viewer?
Well, there was earlier, but
Yeah.
I don't see the metric or the stat having shown like somebody viewed it back at. That's rude. YouTube changed the like. I think it's 11:45, give or take. 11:44 is my guess, but they like changed the timestamp, and I can't see it.
So it looks like Google Meet lets you live stream the meeting.
Oh, really? That sounds like super duper vaguely familiar that I might have looked at that before. Back when we were working at previous company X.
The name that
Feel
shall
like
not be named.
I mean, do we name any of the places we worked before? We only
Actually,
name
I
drop
sort
when
of
we're
said-
bragging about like who we've worked with, right?
Whoops. Sorry, Sorensen.
Whoops. Yeah, I do remember looking at that a little bit before. I forget why. It might have just been related to the idea that we talked about, even within like with a day job company, that we could try and start a podcast or something. Maybe is what I was looking at it.
Hmm.
Does it say? Let's see. Which workspace edition? That's exactly my question. Yeah, you gotta be on enterprise level. It sounds like. Which like is a thing. People do that. Although I'm not 100% sure if there's like a minimum number of seats. Yeah, and I know, yeah, business is meant to cater to the smaller business, smaller amount of users. Same kind of concept with Microsoft plans. But does that mean you can't go to enterprise unless you have 300 people? Let's see. Yes, yes, I know all of this. Show me enterprise, por favor. Where? It's not here. Oh, I see. It is here. If I go back to the thing that had my user counts, and I want to compare enterprise edition. Number of users, any number. So yeah, somebody could totally be getting the enterprise plan, even if they only had 2 or 3 people. They're paying more per seat, which like maybe that mentions that here, maybe not. It's kind of lame, I'm going to be honest. Like, you've got this nice little comparison chart telling me all the different features, but if I can't see on the same page what the price difference is, I'm going to have to be going back and forth between pages to make decisions and understanding, which not my recommended UX approach to the scenario, but fine, I guess. Oh, speaking of live streaming, max number of viewers, 10K at enterprise standard. Max number of participants per meeting, 500. So if we, let's go to the extreme here. Enterprise plus, max meeting length, 24 hours, 1,000 participants, and 100,000, I'm guessing like concurrent viewers. What we could do is we could set up this insane workshop, which I think I looked up the numbers before, and I can't remember exactly, but I don't think FigJam will support 1,000 users at the same time. Let's pretend they do, or we're using something else, some other platform. We could have 1,000 people join into some like workshop event that we have, and live stream for 24 hours, hackathon style or something, you know?
That would be pretty crazy. Looks like it's 36 per user, 300 per year. 36 per month.
For Enterprise Standard or Plus.
Enterprise Plus. Enterprise Standard is 2760 or 276.
It's not too crazy. I mean, it's definitely a jump from like people that are doing business editions, and business starter is only $6 per month per person, right?
Yeah, but all the stuff you get to with the Enterprise
Right.
one is a lot.
There is a like. It's not like what we were just looking at with Riverside pricing. We're like, tiny little increment until you hit the final tier. There's a whole bunch of value, I think, adding up on the different tiers of Google Workspace. There was this like, this is like my last thought, and then I gotta bounce, but I don't remember where it was, but there was a local game shop at the mall here, and they apparently like have had like a world record or something for Dungeons and Dragons, and I think he was saying like over 1,000 people or something. It was kind of crazy.
1,000 people, like playing the same game or playing Dungeons and Dragons at the same time on a stream, or what, is
It was
related to
like
streaming?
they all had like a miniature context of the same big picture, right? And the analogy that he tried to give me, the store worker, told me like, I think he said like the Battle of, did he say Minas Tirith or did he say Helm's Deep? One of the two, I guess. But either way, like imagine some epic Lord of the Rings battle, or like in any kind of like castle, town, city front, where there's things happening at one gate and another gate, and then people are coming up through the sewers and whatever, right? And so they had runners that would have to go to these different tables to communicate to people like world event and context of what's happening at the larger scale, while everybody at the tables are having their own like individual kind of stuff. It sounded crazy cool. Like,
Wow.
I'm
And they
not,
did that all live, like remote, or like
no, it was in person.
in person?
Like they took over the whole mall apparently. People were scattered throughout the whole mall for
Okay.
it. So,
That was there at, in Utah.
yeah. It's the Provo Town Center Mall or whatever it's called. I
Yeah.
don't know what it's called, but
Sounds fun.
it did sound really cool. Even though I'm not like hugely into D&D, I thought that could be cool to be part of.
Yeah.
So maybe at some point we'll come up with some epic, massive workshop. And to that point, like it's not a single Fig Jam file, right, or a whiteboard file. We've got separate ones going on, right, and we've got out of the 1,000 people.
And you have the runners being each one of them. They can pass stuff between them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
Copy
could,
and paste.
yeah, copy and paste between files and stuff. Exactly.
Here's the answer from these 5.
That's really funny.
We'll figure it
Okay.
out. It could be fun.
If I close this window, what does it do to my screen share? Oh, cancels the screen share. Look at that.
Nice.
Well, there y'all have it. I think if we were doing a podcast at some point in the future, this was a little too unstructured. But for some live streaming, I think this is totally on par. Where like I know there's, at least on Twitch, they have like a topic that's called like just chatting or something, or chilling or whatever, right? I think YouTube probably has similar, but but the problem is that like we were kind of talking about one thing, and we were also being like super duper casual, and maybe you build a reputation up for that or something. I don't know, but
Yeah, we'll see.
it worked. It worked for a first test try of things. So
It was a good dive into the world of streaming.
so this call has been going for. I see it's showing like 99% uploading on yours and mine. Continuously uploading your high quality recording to Riverside. 54 minutes, 25 seconds. So I did have screen share up, which I think that means the total recording time should be over 2 hours. We'll see how that handles on the back end with what's left for our free recording there. But otherwise, yeah, I gotta go do some things. So I guess I can also just click. Yeah, I just clicked stop on. That meant that like we didn't have much of a formal goodbye.
I went like this.
Got to
Just
do
before.
some things and then ended it. But that's amazing. It's like already uploaded because it was doing it continuously apparently, which kind of blows my mind. Like, I don't know. Did you notice like any jitteriness in my video and audio? Like, or did I sound fine the whole time? Because
Um,
that means it's sharing bandwidth between like using my thing live and recording,
oh wow.
uploading the recording. But it like literally like seconds after I ended the live, it said that it was done with the recordings. It's pretty cool.